It's my pleasure to be with you on another episode of the Young in Love podcast. On the previous episode, we discussed the date locations and the disrespect, and I went crazy with all the amazing feedback I received on Podroom, Instagram, and WhatsApp. On the previous episode of Through Kezia's Lens, that is online but unavailable, I pointed out the annoying habit of demanding people's online presence and how a particular guy stood out to me by his very, very unique approach. The feedback too was hilarious and amazing. Thank you for listening. Now, on today's episode, my guest and I will be discussing corporate or office romance, falling in love with a colleague, dating a colleague, and I dare say marrying that colleague. However, I plead that you excuse the audio quality and whatever lapses you observe on this episode because it was done remotely, and you know how the network in Nigeria can be. My guests joined me all the way from Alabeke, all the way from the UK, and it had to be them because they were the best people for this episode. Please sit tight and enjoy this goodness, specially crafted with love, straight from my heart to your ears.
Welcome to the podcast, Young in Love.
I welcome the both of you to this episode of the Young in Love podcast, and I am excited to have you on this podcast. So this episode was inspired by the discussion I had with a friend, and he was telling me about two people who got married in their office. And I was like, really? They were colleagues? He said yes. And they're married now. He said yes. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And so I just had the idea to do one on office romance. So I would like the both of you to introduce yourself, starting from the ladies first. Oh yeah.
Okay, so it depends on what you want to know, but my name is Tele.
Yes.
I'm a lawyer. What else you want to know? So I got married.
No, don't go to the marriage part yet. Just your name is fine.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tele.
Okay.
I'm glad to be here.
Nice to have you here. Tele's husband. What's your name?
Hi, Kezia. Nice to meet you and thanks for having us. My name is Edidem.
Yes. Edidem. Okay, it's nice to have you here. So, for the purpose of this recording, how would you like to be addressed? Edidem and Tele?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so now let's get straight to it. Prior to when the both of you met, right, at the office, did you have a policy against office romance? You know how people say we are not going to mix work and pleasure. Did you have that thing in your head?
Okay, do you mean individually or was there like a
No, individually.
Okay. So personally, I think at that point in time, probably yes. But then the reason why, I got swept off my feet by her. That was like the first.
So her beauty was all in your face.
Yeah, not just the outward beauty, but the beauty on the inside. But then...
So like you walk around with an X-ray to see the inside.
But then I was also, we'd been talking, but then before we kind of took things to the next level, I knew that I was like on my way out of the... So that kind of made it easier. So we started officially dating when like I had resigned and like during my notice period.
Okay.
But we'd been talking before then.
Okay. But Tele, what about you?
Well, I guess I was open-minded, so I didn't really care about whether or not I met someone in the office, but that wasn't my goal anyways, so I just went in there.
You went in there to make the money,
to do my work,
and love saw you.
I get some work experience, and well, as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. Okay, but I'd like to know though, tell me, especially Edidem, I want to hear from you now as the guy. I want you to describe the circumstances surrounding your meeting. Like when you saw her for the first time, right? Did you know from the get-go that, wow, this lady looks like someone that could be my wife? Was it love at first sight, or you just saw her as that person, and then, as you guys got talking, you started falling in love?
It's more of the latter. I mean, I don't believe in love at first sight. I see it more of infatuation or attraction at first sight, because especially when you want to make like a lifelong decision as marriage goes beyond the outward look. It's what's on the inside that also matters. I mean, both of them go hand in hand. So when you just see someone from afar the first time, you haven't really had a conversation with the person. You haven't really had as much time to just work out what they're like, work out what their character is like. You can't really tell. So it's as we got talking, but then. So the first time I saw her, I actually just told her that she looks like Chi, one gospel artist.
So when was the first time exactly? I mean, like, describe the whole thing. Were you guys on a staircase, and like, did her file fall, and you helped her to like bend down and pick it?
It wasn't like the Hollywood kind of thing that you described. So what it was is that she just joined the firm, and there was like a training kind of session for her intake. So they all sat down somewhere. So I went into the room to get to meet everybody, and then I introduced myself. So I just walked around, and then I was, shaking everyone, telling them, and getting their names as well. And that's where I met her. And then she was on a different floor to me. So from time to time, she would come down to my floor when she was working with the person who sat right next to me. And then what I noticed was that, she would always be very polite. I mean, she didn't let her beauty or looks get into her head.
Oh, shit. Okay, so hold on. You said you went around shaking the new intake. So when you shook her, right, was it at that point you told her, hello Tele, you look like Chi, or it was much later?
It was then. So I was like, oh, hi, what's your name? And then she was Tele. I was like, oh, but you look like Chi. There's this gospel artist in my church.
I was like, that's right.
Exactly. Because if someone told me that, I would also be wondering.
I promise, it wasn't any pickup line. It wasn't any line. I wasn't trying to do any line though.
Okay.
Okay. Tele, I want to hear your own account.
Yeah, so
like, did you know from the beginning, like when he, came around to shake you, like, damn, this guy is cute? No, I mean, I haven't even seen your husband, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's cute. But like at that point in time, I'm not sure if I was in a relationship or I was talking to someone. But yeah, I wasn't in that headspace of, I'm here to look for a husband. I must marry by force. By 2018, I'm going to grab my man. No, it was just a thing of, okay, if someone is being friendly, let me, say hi as well.
Flow along.
Just go with the flow. Yeah.
Okay, so from the time that you guys first met to when you started being in a relationship, how long was it? From like January to September, but we started talking in May. So May. Well, end of May. So the day before Democracy Day. Yeah.
So call it 6 months before we started talking.
Like, okay, I'm a little confused because this talking stage thing can be very somehow. When did you make it official?
So we made it official in September. So he left the firm at the end of August, and we made it official in September. Yeah.
Okay, but before that talking stage and all that, were there times where you had to constantly tell yourself, like, Tele, focus, you're here for work. Okay, don't let this young man distract you.
Absolutely, I had.
Was that? You tell me about it.
The time, so bear in mind, she was doing NYSC, and then I was like, mid-level. So if and when she would have maybe questions.
Oh, hold on. She was doing NYSC. Yeah. Hey, I feel like my NYSC was a waste because God, now wow. Go ahead, please.
So I was like kind of like mid-level. So basically,
Okay.
you know how you would have questions in terms of like how to navigate certain work tasks or in dealing with other people who've given you work to do. So she would call me on the intercom, and then sometimes we'll be on the phone for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes just talking, which is as much as the first half of a football match. And the
That's true.
and the people around me, like my own mates, would be like, Edidem, who are you always talking to? But the good thing is that she was on a different floor, so nobody around me could see or tell.
Wow.
But then, there were times like, and then after the call, I then realized, oh my goodness, I've had so much to do at this time. And
Yeah.
Lost.
Lost in Tele's love. So, but did that affect your performance at work?
No.
I mean, the both of you. So you guys were able to balance the whole thing out.
Of course. I mean, we would talk after work. So we would talk when I was in traffic. If I'd leave the office at 8, we'd probably talk from like 8 till midnight or 1 a.m. sometimes. So we had more than enough time to talk after work.
So you guys were not letting yourselves sleep.
Well, no, don't say it like that. We were trying to maximize the day. So yeah.
Okay.
At work.
Okay.
After work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but at what exact point did both of you become convinced that you were meant for each other? How did you know? What point? What was that turning event in your talking or your relationship that you know, this has to be the person? Edidem, how did you know that Tele was your wife?
I would not. Okay, so I wouldn't say there was like one magical event that happened and then there was like a lightning bulb moment. But what it was is that before the year before she came, right? Now I'm going a bit spiritual. I'd been praying, and I'm praying that, you know how the Bible talks about he who finds a wife finds a good thing, and the Bible also says, wealth and riches are the inheritance of fathers, but a good wife is from God. So I was like, well, God, there's the one about a man finding, but I want you to give me. So from when we started talking, and I spend a lot of time praying, and I could just feel that kind of like click in my spirit that this is actually the answer to that prayer that you prayed about a year ago. This is actually God bringing the wife to you, and like I said, she's beautiful, very, very beautiful on the outside, very attractive, but you can't miss the traits on the inside as well, and everything just tied in together. And it was at that point in time that as time went on, as our relationship evolved, I could just tell.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so from the time you said you made your relationship official in September, but you guys were talking from the end of May. So from that talking stage, that May to when you finally got married was how long?
We got
married in February.
We got married in February 2020. We started talking in May 2018. So I would say maybe a year and a half.
Oh, 2 years.
Yeah.
Close to 2 years.
Close to 2 years, maybe. Yeah.
Wow. God, I've been rushing you. I'm sorry. I must take my time, because when you said February, I was thinking it was the February of the following year. So you guys were dating for 2 solid years.
Almost
I guess the milestone would be started talking late May, June, got engaged 2018, got engaged April 2019, and then got married
February 2020,
Oh, now you're talking now. You got engaged in April of the following year.
That's true. Was up to a year.
Nice. Tele, what was it for you, about your husband? What was the turning point for you in your relationship that made you convinced about him? Because, I always ask my mom, how do you just make up your mind to be with a man for the rest
it's not easy
of your life?
It's not
easy at all. Because don't you feel at some point, you might meet someone else? My mom used to say, when you meet the person, you would know. And for me, that happened sometime in 2018 because I met this guy. Cute. I thought he was everything. I was super in love. And, we're talking about marriage and stuff. So I was convinced in my soul because I had met other guys before then. But it didn't click.
Do you mind sharing what?
But when I met this particular person, yes, everything seemed to be at peace. It felt like I was home. And so I decided, I even told my mom, Mommy, I think I found the one, right? But then things didn't work out. He's married now to someone else with a child and all. So, life continues. But for you, how
just to put things in, because I think both people kind of have to be ready and feel the same way. So maybe if things didn't work out, I think that guy has just missed out, so to speak, because he's my body. But then I believe that day, when you get to meet that person, you will feel it. That person will feel it.
Right. But I wouldn't necessarily say that he missed out, because at the end of the day, I feel he made the decision that was best for him, and he's probably happy with that decision, and the kind of person that I am, I'll never wish anyone evil. I wish them, all the best in life. But for me, I had, when you say someone has forsaken all others, I wasn't entertaining guys in my DMs no more. I wasn't talking to that. I would tell anyone who cared to listen that I was in a relationship.
It happened.
So it was so bad that after the breakup, it felt like I was alone. So I had to start building relationships again with my male friends, because I had cut them off. And now I realize that even though you're in a relationship, it's not good to just completely...
Even married, it's true.
Yeah, it's not good to just completely burn bridges. There's still room for healthy friendship, That was my mistake back then, but I wouldn't make it anymore. So yes, tell me.
So
when was that point for you?
Like he said, I don't think there was an aha moment, a light bulb moment. I wouldn't say, I had a dream, or like Saul in the Bible, a light. No, so it wasn't like that for me. So I had been praying about it, and I just had peace in my heart about it. And I knew that I was doing the right thing, because that's how you should know how God speaks to you before you even choose a life partner, right? Because so many people say, they don't even know how God speaks to them, and then they believe that God has spoken to them about a life partner. If you don't know how God speaks to you about the little things like, God, I'm trying to go out today. Should I go out? There'll be traffic. Sometimes you just have a feeling in your heart, like that still small voice that will tell you, if you don't call this person now, this person is going to disappoint you. Like it happened to me last week. So I guess, I was able to develop my relationship with God. So I knew how God speaks to me, right? And then I was able to make that choice based on that. And then in the Bible, it says, I'm a Christian. So that's why I'm referring to the Bible.
No, that's fine. I'm Christian.
So in the Bible, it says in the mouth of two or three witnesses, a thing is established.
A thing is established.
So I had witnesses from my pastor and people who were more spiritually mature, than myself, people that I would talk to. So I just felt like everything felt right, and I had comfort in the fact that I had my own witnesses, and I had my own witness, and I had confirmation as well. And I have peace in my heart and peace in my marriage now, to the glory of God.
Amen, sister. Bless you. I think it's very important to understand how your God speaks to you. Some people who are not necessarily religious call it God feeling. When you feel it that something is not right or stuff. In my time, when I was in a relationship with this person, I would have very disturbing dreams about our relationship. I'm the kind of person that I think God speaks to me through dreams. So when I'm asking for an answer, I always tell him, please come to me in my dream and tell me clearly. I don't want ambiguity. I'm so scared of hearing voices during the day because I feel like my emotions might get in the way. But when I'm asleep, it's completely void of me, right? I don't have any influence on my dreams and stuff like that. So when I see certain things, I'm like, perfect, this is the answer. So in my relationship then, when I didn't have any reason to doubt his loyalty or anything, I would still have dreams where he would always choose someone else over
Now
me.
you're being honest.
Yes.
Yeah, so no, tell I never lied now. I'm just revealing
now
more
you're
things.
giving us details. Yes. Now.
Yeah, I had that kind of dream 3 nights consecutively. So I would dream this night, the following night, and the
I
next.
surprised you.
I told my mom.
You know when?
Okay.
I don't know how much of the Bible you know, but you know the dream about Pharaoh and Joseph.
Yeah.
Pharaoh saw the dream twice, and when Joseph went to him to interpret it, he said to him, the reason you've seen this dream twice is because it's a thing that has been established by God and that it's about to happen shortly.
Yeah.
So the fact that you had that dream more than 2 times, then...
It was for emphasis.
Exactly.
For emphasis, exactly. 3 times. 3, like this night, the following night, and the next. And he would always choose someone else over me. Always. And so when it eventually happened, it was like, but girl,
You saw
this. And you saw it coming. I even have a friend who was supposed to get married to this guy, and
This same guy?
on the day, no, so some other guy. My friend was supposed to get married to some other guy, and on the day his family, they were supposed to do the introduction. So his family, the guy, they were supposed to go to her place to collect list and all. She had a dream, and that dream was she saw him in a vehicle driving, but there was another lady by his side, by the passenger seat, and then a baby at the back. So that looked like a family. And it wasn't her in the picture. Now she had that dream the night breaking the day of her introduction. It was a clear sign. Today the guy is married to someone else, and they have a family. And so sometimes I tell her, you made a lot of sense when you need to understand how God,
So imagine if she had just, discounted that dream and said, oh, maybe it's my head, and still maybe forced herself on the man and gotten married. There's so many cases like that we see them on Bella Niger, big lavish wedding, and then within 5-6 months they're already divorced. So,
yes, I mean in her case, it wasn't her saying, okay, based on this dream, I'm not going to do this anymore. Everything broke down on its own. Sometimes God is just telling us this is what's going to happen. He's not really saying we must act on it. There are times when you have to take action, and other times God is just telling you it's not going to happen. Whether you force it, I'm not going to let it happen. So let's move on. I want you guys to tell me when there's some guilty pleasure moments that you had at the office. I know you said talking at the end of May, and shortly after Edidem had to leave. So, but I mean, within that short space of talking and all of that, were there times you guys will want to take a what's the word, sneak
not
hug,
in that office, please,
or
it's just the way the office was structured. I mean, there are times when we could have maybe like private conversations in like common areas, in like tea room, etc. But not of the type that you described. It's just that there would be, I remember one particular situation where at the end of my day, every time I'll go upstairs to her floor. So some of like the other seniors who are on the floor will be like, I did them, I'm suspecting you. It's like you have a girlfriend on this floor that you always come to.
But were there times you were tempted to either hug her, kiss her, peck her, or stuff at the office?
Perhaps
pretty
hugging
big.
her. Yes, absolutely. But then these days, CCTV.
No,
You were tempted to hug her. Did you hug her?
And at the end of the day, when you're in the office, you have to be as discreet as possible if you don't want anybody to know.
You guys were hiding it.
Because you know how it is now.
Okay, but
be subject of office gist, office gossip. No.
Spoils it for you.
Exactly.
okay, so but that leads me to my next question though. Like, how because you said sometimes you will go to her floor and, some of your colleagues will be like, Edidem, I'm suspecting you. How did you deal with all those, office rumors surrounding your relationship and stuff? And did you have any rivals? So Edidem, did you have any guy who, was interested in Tele? And Tele, did you see any lady who was actually trying to get Edidem's attention? These are two questions in one now. So
okay, from my
Tele, let's hear you.
So there wasn't any, not that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any lady who was trying to, nah.
Any rival?
Please. Can't you see me? I mean, no rival.
Yeah, spec. Edidem.
I mean, neither the case with me, especially. I mean, I'd been in the firm for such a long time. So if anybody, I'd been there about 4 years by the time she joined. So if anybody, had any interest, they would probably have cleared in advance. But then it was just like that kind of nice college place where we're all like colleagues. So it's only when, as colleagues and like friends and family even. So it's only when new people come into the firm, and she was new at the time, that you now have someone who's been in the firm longer picking interest in someone who's just coming newly. But then so it's just like when new people come into the firm, like she was new at the time, so that I suppose that just emulates the kind of situation that happened between her and myself. But then I'd been in the firm for a while, so most of the people there already were my friends. If any new person had come in and was taking an interest in me, I didn't know about it.
Okay. Because there's this thing with fresh babes, beautiful ladies coming to work in any place at all, just being in a new environment. Once you're a new person.
Once you're new, that's what I mean. Like before you know it, everybody's fine. But then it's only the one you hear about that you know about, right?
It's true, sure. There might be some people who were losing in their hearts. Yeah.
Maybe I guess I don't move quickest.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so to wrap this up quickly, do you have any advice for persons who may be listening and probably in a similar situation as both of you were back then?
Yeah.
Do you have any advice?
For me, I think it doesn't really matter where you find your spouse. Okay, so we're not saying like office romance is the in thing, that go and work in an office so that you can find a husband, no, or a wife, no. We just happened to meet each other at the office, which was like, I didn't expect that at all. If someone had told me I would meet my husband in the office, I would have said, nah, that's a lie, okay? That's just it. You can find love anywhere. And at any time. So I would say just be open-minded, really, and let the Spirit of God lead you, because it's possible to find love in the office and the person is not the one for you. So, that's the most important thing, really.
And to add my own few pence to it, as she said, I'll just echo what she said. Be open, but then if it's a decision that you've made, it's good to be discreet, because you just don't want, especially when people find out, depending on the size of the office, you just don't want, people carrying tales and carrying stories and putting their whole microscope on you to then it will have an impact on the relationship.
That's true.
And so it's just good to keep it between yourselves, and if you have like very, very close people that you can trust, then you can let them in on it as well. But then in terms of transitioning the relationship to a spouse, as my wife has said, is only just rely on the Spirit of God to lead you to make the right decision.
It is sweet to me. So as my wife has said. Jesus Christ, okay, but you said something about letting a few people in. I mean, people who you trust. Did you trust anybody that much at your office, Edidem, to let in on your relationship?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, nice.
I had some eyes on her floor.
Can you monitoring spirit? And I didn't know. I was just living my life, my baby girl life,
Imagine. Anyways, guys. Thank you so much, Tele and Edidem, Mr. and Mrs. for agreeing to be on. I'm going to say it again. This is a remote recording, so please excuse the quality if it's not as great as the other episodes. I had to do this because they were the best people, right, for this episode. So thank you for making out the time to be on my podcast. I'm sending out love to you guys, and I pray that your marriage will stand the test of time.
Amen.
And that God would bless your home with plenty of laughter, peaceful moments, joy, and that so many other people out there who are trusting God for your kind of miracle, that the good Lord will do it for them in the office. All right, guys, take care.
Right,
Thank you, Kezia.
So
Take care.
yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Young in Love. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you did, you can rate us and write a review on Apple and Google Podcasts. Feel free to like our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram at YoungInLove_podcast. Share this podcast with your family and friends. Subscribe to Young in Love Podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts and or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support Young in Love Podcast, you can do this on our Patreon account by visiting patreon.com/YoungInLove and making a small monthly donation of as little as $1 every month or 350 naira monthly, or even bigger donations as you feel led to. But hey, if you cannot make any donations, that's fine too, because besides just money, Young in Love Podcast has thrived and will continue to thrive on the prayers and good wishes of good people like you. Until the next episode, bye and be good.
Young in Love.